Welcome to my channel. Today is my video upcoming top 5 PC games. So don't have to wait, let's start. Subscribe my channel and click the bell icon. Number 1. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is a compilation of the video games in the Mass Effect trilogy. Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3. It is being developed by BioWare with assistance from Abstraction Games and Blind Squirrel Games, and published by Electronic Arts. All 3 games were remastered, with visual enhancements, technical improvements, and gameplay adjustments. Mass Effect, the first game of the trilogy, has received more extensive upgrades than its counterparts, specifically with regard to combat mechanics, vehicle handling, and loading times. Development on Legendary Edition commenced in 2019 under the direction of Mac Walters. Although BioWare initially considered other alternatives, they ultimately decided to approach the project as a remaster as opposed to a remake in order to preserve the original trilogy experience. BioWare has detailed all of the gameplay tweaks coming to Mass Effect Legendary Edition. In a blog on the game's official website, BioWare has kicked off a weekly series digging into the making of Mass Effect Legendary Edition, with the first article focusing on gameplay tuning and rebalancing. With regards to tuning the combat of the trilogy, BioWare has tweaked how accuracy, aim assist, and aiming down sights works in Mass Effect, to let players maintain more consistent firepower and bring it in line with Mass Effect 2 and 3. Abilities have also been rebalanced, and smaller tweaks have been implemented, such as mapping melee to a button press, and letting players mark inventory items as junk so they can be converted to Omnigel or sold to merchants. BioWare has reworked some of the first game's boss battles and made it so squad mates can be controlled independently like in the later games. Across the trilogy, entering and exiting cover has been made more reliable, with additional cover added to some encounters. The Galaxy at War metagame has also been rebalanced and won't be affected by factors that are no longer available, such as the companion app or multiplayer. BioWare says that preparing for the climax of Mass Effect 3 will be more difficult to achieve in the Legendary Edition, as a result. Many will be pleased to hear that BioWare has also calibrated Mass Effect's Mako controls to make the vehicle less bouncy while adding faster shield recharging and new thrusters. If a player touches lava in the Mako, they will also just take damage over time rather than failing the mission instantly. Beyond actual gameplay, the trilogy will feature a set of wider quality of life modernizations, including a unified launcher, better character customization options, updated achievements, and integrated weapons and armor DLC content, so players can earn them naturally while they play. The trilogy's audio has also been remixed and enhanced for Legendary Edition. The compilation was announced on November 7, 2020, and is scheduled to be released on May 14, 2021 for Microsoft Windows, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. Number 2. Biomutant. Biomutant is an upcoming action role-playing game developed by Swedish developer Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic. Biomutant is an action role-playing game set in an open-world environment and played from a third-person perspective in which the player takes control of a mammalian warrior in a world filled with mutated animals. The first thing for the player to do is to customize their own character. Sex, length, body shape and thickness, fur, fangs, and many other attributes can be tweaked and all have direct impact on the statistics of the playable character during gameplay. A thicker character is heavier, which makes it slower, but on the flip side allows it to deal and resist more damage. The combat system combines melee attacks with long-range shooting. The player collects parts throughout the game and combines these parts to create a weapon. Each part has its own effect on the statistics of the end product. The game features a variety of affixes, including cryogenic and electrical, which are effective in battles. When a cryogenic part is put onto a weapon, enemies will freeze when hit. The player can combine the power of multiple weapons by switching between different weapons during combat. The protagonist is able to dodge to the left, right, and backward, as well as jump. Besides leveling up the playable character, the player can also use level up points to strengthen their attributes or to unlock new attack combinations. Another way to learn new moves is by interacting with specific characters in each area. Most moves are based on weapons, which can be crafted using the game's weapon crafting system. Throughout the game, players can also change their abilities, looks by mutations and biomechanical body parts such as attaching robotic legs, wings and claws, which can be used to get various advantages against certain enemies or at certain locations. In order to reach specific areas, the player must change body parts, equip gear that is suited for that area, or obtain specific vehicles, such as an air balloon or jet skis. This way, the player can overcome obstacles introduced by the surroundings, such as the limited oxygen availability in Death Zone by wearing a gas mask or an oxygen container. The player is able to venture deeper into the area and explore new places that cannot be reached without any precautions, while an even bigger part of the area can be reached by obtaining a mech. The game's world can be seamlessly explored by the player on foot, by flying or using an air balloon, jet ski and mech. It also features a dynamic weather system and day-night cycle which affect the gameplay and enemy behavior. The story is mission-based and mission lines are character-based. Certain characters will provide the player quest lines that are emanating from their area. The more the player interacts with this character, the wider the arc of that specific area becomes. Biomutant also features a karma system for non-playable characters and a companion system for recruiting allies for fighting and traveling alongside the player. Depending on the actions, interactions, and decisions made by the player throughout the whole game, the stances characters take can change, which has an influence on the continuation of the story as dialogues and quest lines will be changed. The story is fully narrated. As playtime increases, the narration level scales down. Players will also be able to manually adjust the narration frequency. The game will be released on the 25th of May 2021 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Number 3. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is an upcoming tactical shooter video game developed and published by CI Games. It is the sixth entry in the Sniper Ghost Warrior series and is the sequel to Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts. Contracts 2 shifts away from the Russian front towards a new conflict in the Middle East. Taking place in a fictional region in the Middle East called Qamar, players discover that thanks to the death of a strong warlord, his widow and her network of dangerous associates are threatening warfare with its neighbors. In a chance to prevent the destabilization of countries and a massive conflict, a lone sniper is deployed to eliminate targets that could accelerate this process. Players will take the role of Raven, the sniper sent into one of 5 gigantic maps, each with their own set of targets and contracts to complete. At the start of each mission, players will select their initial weapon loadout, consisting of a sidearm, a secondary weapon for short-range fighting, and a sniper rifle for eliminating targets at a distance. You'll also be able to acquire newer items, like miniaturized drones or explosive rounds for your weapons as well. All of this gear can be further customized with additional gear to make them suit your individual playstyle. Getting your sniper rifle to match exactly what works best for you is vital in this game, especially because there will be some targets that you'll have to eliminate from more than 1,000 meters away, while also taking wind, gravity, and your mark's movement into account. That makes clean, accurate shots much more challenging to pull off, particularly if you need to eliminate an opponent without drawing attention to yourself. There will be opportunities to change your weapon loadout at specific checkpoints, where you'll also be able to redeem completed contracts and side missions for cash and gear. Players can expect lots of graphic eliminations of enemies, whether it's with a stealth takedown by stabbing a soldier to death, or blowing up an opponent by shooting the grenades on the belt. Well-aimed sniper shots track towards the target in slow motion, resulting in realistic and bloody wounds. There's also some profanity that will be overheard in dialogue, and there are some drug references that can be found in some missions as well. The game is set to release on the 4th of June 2021 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Xbox Series S, X. A PlayStation 5 version is set to release later in 2021. Number 4. Humankind. Humankind is an upcoming 4X video game being developed by Amplitude Studios and to be published by Sega. Humankind is a 4X game comparable to the Civilization series. Players lead the civilization across 6 major eras of human civilization, starting from the nomadic age, directing how the civilization should expand, develop cities, control military and other types of units as they interact with other civilizations on the virtual planet, randomly generated at the start of a new game. A distinguishing feature of Humankind is that within each of the eras, the player selects one of 10 civilization types based on historical societies. This selection offers both bonuses and penalties to how the player can build out the civilization. Because a player can select different civilizations as a template to build upon, there exists potentially 1 million different civilization patterns that a player can ultimately develop. Building out cities follows a similar model from Amplitude's Endless Legend game. A continent in Humankind will have multiple territories on it, and the player will only be able to build one city in that territory. Over time, they can expand that city, adding farms and other outlying resources as well as more dense urban areas closer to the city center. This allows the creation of large metropolises within each territory. Players may also need to engage in combat with enemy forces. When this occurs, the game uses a tactical role-playing game approach for detailed resolution of these battles, giving the player a chance to take advantage of terrain and special abilities of the units. Within these skirmishes, battles can only last for 3 combat turns before the game returns to the overworld, such that drawn-out wars can occur across multiple years at the overworld scale. During the game, the player gains resources for the civilization, similar to Endless Legend, which includes food, industry, gold, science, and influence. Each of these can be spent to speed up production, advance technology, or as trade goods with other cultures. Humankind also includes fame, which is earned by being the first civilization to discover certain technologies or build world wonders. Fame remains a persistent measure of the civilization's relative success to other civilizations, and can have impacts on later decisions in the game. Unlike games like Civilization where there can be multiple victory conditions, victory in Humankind is based solely on the fame score after a predetermined number of turns. Humankind will include certain persons and events based on historical records that the player will interact with. The game is scheduled for release for Microsoft Windows, macOS and Stadia in the 17th of August 2021. Number 5. Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is an upcoming multiplayer first-person shooter game developed by Turtle Rock Studios and published by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. The game has been considered to be the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, as it is being developed by the creators of the original game, and features largely identical gameplay. The game was announced at the Game Awards 2020, and came nearly a decade after Turtle Rock Studios split from Valve and re-established itself as an independent studio, who published both Left 4 Dead titles and still owns the rights to the franchise. The games encourage cooperative play between up to 4 players, each taking the role of one of the survivor characters and the computer controlling any unassigned characters. Players use a combination of melee weapons, firearms, and thrown objects to fend off attacks from the bulk of the infected creatures, while using an assortment of healing items to keep the group alive. Certain unique infected creatures pose a more difficult challenge, typically requiring teamwork to take down effectively. The games are overseen by an AI director, designed to give the players a more dramatic experience based on their performance, penalizing players for stalling while rewarding players with special weapons by taking longer or riskier paths. The director also makes gameplay dynamic, meaning that no 2 playthroughs are quite the same. It is slated for release in October 12, 2021, for Windows, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One and Xbox Series S, X. Okay gamers, that's it. I will come with another video. Subscribe my channel. What your ideas, write down below in comment box and let me know.